is your life. Find a convenient way to die.
You know what's weird about the ocean? Logically, we know what's down there. Scientists have explored it. There are documentaries, there are diagrams. David Attenborough has whispered soothing facts about fish for decades. And yet, the second you're floating above deep dark water in a video game, your brain immediately goes, "There's 100% absolutely a monster beneath me right now." And no gaming series understands that better than Subnautica. Because Subnautica was never really about survival. Not entirely. It's not just about oxygen tanks, base building or crafting materials. It's not about eating suspicious alien fish you found drifting around like so many floating chicken nuggets. Yoink! Om nom 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 nom, crunch 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 crunch. Subnautica is about fear. Run 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 run. Not horror game fear, not jump scare fear, a much worse kind. It's the slow psychological terror of being somewhere humans absolutely do not belong. I mean, the first game already turned an entire generation of gamers into people who panic whenever they can't see the bottom of their bathtub. And today, I want to talk about why Subnautica 2 might genuinely become the most terrifying survival game ever made. Not because of monsters, but because of how it weaponizes the unknown. See, most horror games have to work very hard to scare you. They set the game in a haunted house, they create creepy enemies, or they play loud violin sounds directly into your nervous system. Subnautica barely has to try, because the ocean is already one of the scariest environments imaginable. There's a reason fear of deep water is incredibly common. The ocean removes every comfort that humans rely on. You can't see properly, you can't move properly, and you certainly can't breathe properly. Everything around you is unfamiliar, and worst of all, you're never really sure what's nearby. What the hell was that? That's the genius of Subnautica. It understands that imagination is far scarier than anything that developers could actually show you. Half the time, the game doesn't even need a monster on screen. You'll scare yourself. You'll be swimming through completely empty water and suddenly think, "Wait, why is it so quiet? Yeah, I don't like it." And then your entire body enters fight or flight mode because your brain has decided a giant nightmare shark thing is on its way to eat your face. The game creates paranoia, and paranoia is unbelievably powerful in survival games. Because unlike scripted horror games, survival games make the fear personal. Because you've spent so long collecting, upgrading and crafting, you really feel a sense of attachment to your character. With each little win comes a sense of fear that you may lose it all at any moment. Basically, just like in real life, you want to keep your organs on the inside for as long as possible. This breeds a survival paranoia in you that makes you question every sound, every shadow, and every decision. One of the smartest things Subnautica ever did was make the ocean feel alien. Which sounds obvious because, you know, the game takes place on an alien planet. But think about it. Most survival games make you feel stronger over time. In a lot of games, progression eventually turns you into a death-dealing tank, capable of killing anything that looks at you funny. You build giant fortresses, you get powerful weapons, you dominate the environment. But Subnautica never fully lets you feel safe. Even late into the endgame, even with advanced vehicles, even with expensive upgrades. Because no matter how powerful you become, the ocean will always be bigger than you. That feeling is as important as it is terrifying. The deeper you go, the less the world feels designed for human existence. The water darkens and visibility disappears. The sounds become stranger. The creatures stop looking like fish and start looking like biology gave up and just threw together whatever was left over. And it's here that you realise something horrifying. You're entering ecosystems where you're not even remotely close to the top of the food chain. Subnautica captures the same feeling as space exploration. You're a teeny tiny human in a massive unknown environment. There's no help coming. One mistake and you die horribly. You'll die all alone in an unfathomably huge environment where your screams won't ever reach another human ear. I need to talk about the audio for a second, because seriously, the sound design in Subnautica deserves awards. The amount of abject fear caused by a distant underwater roaring noise cannot be underestimated. What is that? Because the game understands a simple truth. You hear danger before you see it. And underwater? That's horrifying. Sometimes you'll hear a roar somewhere in the distance and immediately freeze like your body just received ancient ancestral knowledge that you're about to die. And it's not because you know what made the sound, it's because you don't. That uncertainty is everything. Most games reveal too much. Subnautica hides information constantly, and hidden information creates tension. Your brain starts filling in the blanks. You hear something large moving nearby, and suddenly your imagination creates the worst possible creature imaginable. And your imagination will always create something scarier than any game ever could. Which is why, the first time many players encounter a huge creature, it becomes such a memorable gaming moment. Not because it jump scared them, but because they heard it first. And somewhere deep in their soul, they knew they'd made a terrible mistake. Subnautica 2 has the chance to push this even further. Better audio technology, larger environments, more dynamic ecosystems. Imagine hearing something enormous moving beneath you, but the game never fully confirms what it is. It's that uncertainty that absolutely shreds people's nerves. A lot of people feared that adding co-op to this winning formula would dilute the fear factor. They worry that by making the game multiplayer, it will make it less scary. And sometimes that's true, but I actually think co-op could make Subnautica 2 more terrifying, because fear is a very social emotion.
What am I hearing?
That thing! Oh god, look at that!
What is that? Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up!
Picture this, you and a friend are descending into a deep trench. Visibility is awful, and your flashlights barely illuminate the murky water in front of your face. You're both feeling brave because you have each other's backs. I mean, you're basically just going for a swim with a friend, right? Then from out of nowhere, your friend suddenly starts panicking incoherently and screaming a fear-fueled barrage of obscenities. You can't see what's happening, you're disoriented, and your friend is shouting about how he's being eaten right beside you. That's terrifying. And now your brain gets the terror of imagining what just happened to your friend. Multiplayer horror works because panic spreads between players incredibly fast.
It's to the right, whatever it is. Oh, it's there! Look at it! It's a giant octopus! It's coming right at me!
What is that thing? Run, run!
Oh, it hit me with the... Oh, it's coming after me! No!
One person screaming instantly makes everyone afraid. Also, and this is important, multiplayer creates opportunities for betrayal. Not intentional betrayal, panic betrayal. The kind where your friend accidentally abandons you because a giant sea creature appeared and their survival instincts activated immediately. It reminds me of the saying, you don't need to outrun the bear, you just need to outrun your friends. Here's a different example of panic betrayal. The other day I was playing with my friend Frags, and he was hitching a ride on the outside of my tadpole. We were attacked by some chompy fish monster thing, and suddenly my power went dead, which effectively made me a tinned human snack for whatever felt hungry that day. It turns out that in his panic, Frags tried to grab hold of the tadpole and accidentally pulled out the power cell that powered the entire craft.
In the panic to get onto the side of it, I may have taken the power cell out.
Oh, that's why I couldn't move.
I took the f***ing power cell out.
It wasn't purposeful sabotage, but the potential for those emergent moments of co-op panic and terror is huge. And if the developers lean into that unpredictability, this game could generate some of the best organic fear stories on YouTube. What really separates Subnautica from other survival games is directional vulnerability. You're never fully in control. In most survival games, danger approaches from predictable directions. Ground level, doorways, hallways, but underwater, danger can come from anywhere. It can come from above you, below you, behind you, or straight from out of the darkness. Your brain never gets to relax. You're in a 360-degree world of unknown horror. And the game constantly attacks your sense of orientation, especially in deeper biomes. Sometimes you genuinely lose all sense of direction, and then that feeling that you're hopelessly lost starts creeping up your spine. You start ascending and realize that's not the surface, that's a cave ceiling. And now you're trapped underwater inside a panic attack. This is why Subnautica creates such strong emotional memories. The fear isn't scripted. The game creates situations where the panic comes organically. That's much more powerful than traditional horror design. A lot of survival games focus heavily on progression systems. Your skills get better and your weapons become stronger. And eventually, the fear disappears as you stride across the landscape, slapping demons and monsters into space like some sort of Super Saiyan Will Smith. And yes, in Subnautica 2 you unlock things and you get new upgrades that allow you to become stronger, but those abilities and upgrades only work to bring you to the next terrifying struggle. Subnautica makes the environment itself a huge threat. Depth becomes dangerous. Darkness becomes dangerous. Distance becomes dangerous. Even silence becomes dangerous. That's incredibly difficult to achieve in game design. Subnautica taps into primal fears people already have. Fear of drowning.
Oh god, oh, I'm actually gonna drown. I'm actually not gonna make it.
Fear of isolation. Fear of being hunted. Fear of the unknown. Fear of things beneath you. Especially fear of things beneath you. Humans really don't like things beneath them. No matter how powerful you become in Subnautica, you're never truly safe. And this is where things get exciting. Because Subnautica 2 is in early access, we're only seeing a small amount of what will be available to us upon full release. I know that as production on the game continues, we'll be introduced to more and more things that will only serve to grow the world and the experience. And the more dynamic the world becomes, the more terrifying uncertainty becomes. And uncertainty is the secret ingredient behind all great horror. Not gore, not jump scares, uncertainty, fear of the unknown. The feeling that something could happen at any moment and from any direction. That's why simply descending into darkness in Subnautica feels more stressful than entire sections of actual horror games. Because your brain is constantly preparing for danger that may or may not exist, which is psychologically exhausting and incredibly effective. The scariest thing about Subnautica was never the leviathans. It was the moments before you saw them. The empty water, the distant sound, the growing realization that you may have gone too deep. That's what makes the series special. It understands that true fear comes from vulnerability and imagination. The growing realization that you may have gone too deep. That's what makes the series special. It understands that true fear comes from vulnerability and imagination. And if Subnautica 2 fully embraces that philosophy, with modern technology, smarter systems and larger worlds, it might genuinely become one of the most terrifying survival games ever made. Not because it forces horror onto the player, but because it convinces players to scare themselves. So now I want to know, what was your scariest moment in the Subnautica series? The moment that made you panic, freeze, or immediately decide that you were never going to go swimming ever again? Also comment and let me know what hopes you have for Subnautica 2. More vehicles, bigger fish, or let me know what you think is and isn't working for you in early access. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe for more deep dives. Haha, wordplay. Brilliant. Thanks for watching Goober Got Games. Now Goober gotta go. Goodbye.